Hello everyone, I'm Melanie with Painting Crafty, and tonight is Tuesday Night Draw Along. So tonight I'm streaming into a couple different places in Facebook, also in YouTube. So if you're watching on Facebook, if you wouldn't mind, if you're watching the replay, put in there hashtag replay so I know you stopped on by. And if you're watching from YouTube, if you wouldn't mind giving me some thumbs up, because you know the YouTube likes that. And if you want to be extra special, you can always leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say about the draw alongs. We're going to be working on this fun tutorial tonight. Step by step, I'm going to teach you how to draw this fun little whimsical chicken. And then we're going to be adding some bright color with some watercolors. So those who might be new to my page, because there's always new people finding me, this is the watercolor paper that I use, the Canson brand, 140-pound cold press paper. And that's what I use. It's still considered a student grade watercolor paper, so it's reasonably priced, but you'll get a nice product. I'm a kind of a firm believer, spend just a teeny bit more on your watercolor paper and then just buy the watercolors you can afford. Hello, my friend Donna. Thanks for popping on tonight so quickly. And so I'm going to turn this camera down so we can get started. Let's see, we're going to change the view here a little bit. Like that. Hi, Deb. Thanks for coming on. So we're going to work on this little guy. When I do my papers, I'm working on a 6x6 drawing is what I'm working on. And then I just misplaced my pencil. Oh, there, I found it. So what I do is I like to draw a line down the middle this way and then a line across here that direction. And that just helps me explain how big I'm drawing things, how I'm proportioning it. But it doesn't really matter if you're working on a 6x6 or not. You can do the same thing. Just draw a little X on your paper and then you'll be able to see where your lines are as well, or have an idea of how big to draw things. So let's scoot this little chicken guy over here and we're going to start. I'm going to look at the back is where I'm going to start first. Make a guideline so I know how to draw the front part of the body. So here's my center line here and here it is across on that one. So I'm going to come up just a little bit and I'm going to start with a line right here. So I'm going to need to make sure I have enough room for his tail. So I'm going to come over here, start about right here. I'm up a little bit higher. I'm going to come just a little past my center line. That's going to be the back. So I have to figure, do I have enough space to be able to put a tail on there? Now let's go ahead. Now we're going to do this part of his body. We're going to drop down a little bit lower and we're going to make this like half moon shape. We're going to start there. We're going to stop about when we come into line with this one. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to start doing that, dropping it down to that half a moon shape. We're going to come around. And then I'm going to stop when I get about even with where I drew my back. This is just going to give me a little bit of chance to look at my drew them. Hi, Kelly Rose. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining me on YouTube tonight. So appreciate it. And let's see, we're going to come, now we're going to work on this part of his head. So we're going to have to bring this neck coming around. We want to make sure we're not getting too narrow, like a really skinny neck. So we want to make sure our distance is a little bit farther away. So check this distance. Does it look like that would be a good size to have for the beginning of the neck? And then we're going to curve it around and come past my line. So I'm going to start here. And then I'm going to start curving it up. If I do the sketch motion, I just get a little bit more control of how my hand is moving, a little bit more control of my line, and I don't have to lock it into where I'm going exactly. So if I do a little sketching motion, I'm going to just have a little bit more control and see where I'm going. So now I got to my center line. I know I've gone far enough. I can come out just a little ways, curve it around. So now I'm going to be developing this part of my face right here. So we're going to be coming back towards my neck. So we're going to come back this way. This is going to be where his little beak is going to be going. And then we're going to come back with my face. So this would be like little chicken cheeks right around there. So little chicken cheeks. And then now we're going to stop and we're going to come this direction. So we had it turned and now we're going to come. Now I think I want to make this a little bit sharper. So we're going to come around a little bit more pointier because this is where my beak is going to be. So I'm going to add a little shape like that. Now it looks a little silly now, but it's going to come together. So we have our basic shape of our chicken started. So we have our body, our neck, and that's where our beak is going to be. Hi, Gloria. Thank you. Oh, thanks so much for sprinkling the lamb. So appreciate it. Now let's put a little comb on the top of her head. Usually this can be in a regular shape. A lot of times the combs will be a little shorter here and then get a little bigger. And we're gonna pop a little beak in, and then she's got this little, I think it might be, I'm not for sure if it's a wattle or what. Mary's not on tonight, so she can't tell us about. Mary's got chickens, so she might know. Maybe Donna knows. I'm sure she had chickens at one time. Let's come here and let's do the little comb action. So I'm going to be a little bit shorter here, and then I'm just going to get a little taller as it comes back. But she's a little hen, so it doesn't need to be really big. Like a rooster would probably be a lot bigger. Now let's go ahead and pop this little beak in, like that. Then you can take a look if it's looking right for you. Let's erase this line right here so we have a line. Now if I go between my beak and come back a little ways, this is where it's going to tell me where to set my eye. So I'm going to put my eye about right here. This is where I'm going to have my eye. So I drew a line that came here. Now her head looks a little flat, but I can draw this a little darker so you can see it. So you can see where, so it doesn't look as flat once you put the comb in. Now I'm going to give her that little bitsy part underneath here, whatever that might be called. I don't know. And then she's going to have another circle in her eye. She's going to have a little bit of detail here, like a little tiny eyelash maybe. And then for her little side feathers, where are just going to be like that. Just a real simple little side feather. All right, let's go ahead and print in our next part. So let's work on her, I'm going to call this, I called it a chicken saddle, a chicken blanket, a chicken something like that. Hi, Carrie, thanks for coming on. Gloria's watching from YouTube too. Oh, great, ladies, I so appreciate it. We're going to do this little chicken blanket or chicken saddle, whatever it might be, wherever she's carrying her little Valentine letters. This might be kind of cute if you did make it into a little satchel with a little Valentine letters in there. She could be delivering some Valentine mail. That would be cute. All kinds of possibilities. And I always look forward to seeing what everybody's versions are. So you surprise me. What might be in yours? You surprise me with your version. If you do one and you would like to share it, you can just post in the Facebook area, and there'll be a post with the chicken on it, and you can put her underneath there. I love to share everyone's work because everybody has such creative ideas. Now let's go ahead and drop in some side feathers here. So I just drew them so they were slightly going down and they went past her body. So I'm going to come here. And I just did kind of three. I did one. This one was my longest one. And then they got a little shorter as I went down. And then that'll be the last one. That filled up my space. Now, if you have more room on yours and perhaps you might be drawing yours larger, you can make more feathers if it makes more sense to have more feathers on yours. And maybe this time where I drew mine, maybe it makes more sense to have another one right here. Add and fill up that space. So I drew it a little differently this time. All right, let's put in some big tail feathers. So these ones are just coming straight up and around. You can add as many as you like in there too. It's called the wattle, the hanging down thing. Well, I was wondering about that. Wattle. Okay, because yes, the turkeys, when we drew those, we said they had that odd one that was called the snood, but I didn't think a chicken had a snood. Drawing them so they're a little wider here and they're getting a little narrower as they came down, just to add a little bit of dimension to them. And I'm going to do 3 on my gal again. They can come in. I really loved how this little picture came out, the painting. I loved the little colors of it. I thought it was darling. All right, now you can put in your little chicken blanket or saddle, whatever it might be. Whatever you might want in there. Let's go ahead and work on her legs. So this one, the leg is coming down and it's more on the ground. So we're going to have this little like upside down triangle piece right here. So I'm going to start with that. It's going to be behind my center line. She's going to be having her first little leg here. Come like that. I'll erase this line so it's connected. It looks like it's a part of her body. Okay, and then I'm going to give her little leg kind of a kick this way, just a tiny bit. And then this is going to be back. And then she's got 1, 2. How many toes does a chicken have, Donna? How many toes does a chicken have? I drew 3, but they might have more than 3. I'm not for sure how many toes a chicken has. Now this little leg here on the one, she's got it picked up. So I'm not, and it's going to be on the other side of her body. So I'm not even going to draw this part here. So all I'm going to see is this little part of her foot. So I'm going to see just her foot, and it's going to come at an angle. There's going to be a foot back here or a toe, whatever they might be called. And then this one, so I did 3. They might have more than 3. If they have more than 3, put them in there, whatever it might be accurate. Okay, so I'm going to come this way. You want to, but mine's a whimsical chicken, so she might just only have 3 toes or whatever, their toes, if they're feet, I have no idea. Okay, so she's got her body already drawn. So she's already drawn as a pretty good, 3 is good on the diagram. Okay, great. I'm gonna pop my little heart in here on my little saddle. So I'm just gonna do this freehand. We've been drawing a few hearts on our draw alongs lately and kind of looking at, are they the same on each side? And challenging ourselves to, if we wanted to try to make them even. Now I'm going to do a little crosshatch pattern. So I'm going to start here in the corner, bring my line across right there. Then I'm going to pop down one more. I'm going to come across here and maybe I'll put a little one there. Now I'm going to go the opposite direction. So I'm going to start at this corner. I'm going to come across. If I run into my heart, pick my pencil up, go on the other side. I'm going to start here at this one, come across like so. I'm going to start here, down we go. And there's my little pattern. I can throw a little one in the corner if I want to work that way too. Now let's put in a little bit of this bottom treatment. So I just did a kind of a whimsical little border, just a simple little roundish kind of thing, nothing too fancy on each side of her. Something for my flower. Now I'm going to erase these lines here a little bit with my harder eraser because I'm going to use my little gum eraser to mostly pick up my graphite lines tonight, my pencil marks. So I'm not going to be using a lot of marker on my picture. So I'm going to erase these ones so they're out of my way. All right, let's draw some flowers. Now flowers can be as whimsical as you want. I gave mine kind of tall ones. Hello there, my friend Christy. No thumbs. Right, Kelly Rose? No thumbs. Okay, so I'm just going to start up here. I'm going to start from my top. I'm going to put a little daisy here. So I'm going to do a half bud like that at the side. And then I'm just going to do some longer pointy. We've been doing some just real whimsical flowers on some of our Valentine that we've drawn already. So this is kind of carrying in the same thing through. I'm going to do a heart flower. So I'm going to come up. Whatever you got room for, however many you would want to draw in there if you want to do flowers. I'm just going to create a little whimsical heart there. Now I'm going to go straight down if I can. Kind of go, but I'm going to do it freehand. I'm not going to measure exact. And I'm going to come here and go straight down as well. So I like those long skinny flowers. This guy I gave like leaves, like those football leaves where there's a point, a little bit of a belly in the middle. This one I gave kind of more like whimsical, a little bit of a curl to it. You could add more than just one. You can come down and add some more like that. All right, on this side, so I did 2 over here and I thought I wanted 3 on the other, so then it gives me an odd number. I like that look, so I'm going to continue on with that look. So I'm going to draw another heart on this side. What kind of looks good is if you can stagger them different heights so they're not all the same way across. So if you can have some different directions, maybe some are turning one way, and so this one's turning in, this one's turning that way. These are all, they're different heights. So that's what I'm going to kind of do on this one too. So I'm going to bring in my heart right here and bring my line straight down wherever it might go, wherever it might land. I'm off to the side of this picture, so sometimes I get myself into trouble when I'm drawing because I can't quite see what I'm doing. I'm just going to do just a simple little loop on the top. Now I'm going to pop in another one like this. It's just a simple little U shape. It's got a U. And then if you think of an M shape on top, just a simple little flower, it's going to have just a little button on the bottom. And then carry your line down wherever it might land. If you run into your chicken, just pick up your pencil, kind of do an invisible line, put it down where you might see it again. Visible line, put it down where you might see it. and carry down. Now this one I gave a bigger curl for the bottom flower, so I went even into that stem just to break my space up a little bit, and I had some space to fill, so it's a good way to fill it. Now let's come over here. I did another heart on this side over here, and I'm going to pop that in like that, and I'm going to again come straight down wherever that might land me. And this little guy, I did some more of those loop leaves, but straight out. So I just changed it up to look a little different that way. Okay, cute, 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 as we say in Painting Crafty, right? All right, she is done. She's all drawn. She's looking very festive. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take my kneaded eraser, and I'm just going to go over my image, and this is going to lighten up my lines. I do have a heavy hand, and I do draw a little darker so you can see it, but this will pick up some of my pencil. I'm not planning on doing a lot of ink work on this tonight. I'm just using my watercolor. But if you're using colored pencil, you can use one of these as well to lighten up your drawing before you use your colored pencils. Any of your drawings, if you're doing acrylic paint, you could probably just leave your pencil work the way it is and start with your acrylic paint, and it's not going to make a difference. But when you're doing your watercolor, you'll probably want to erase some of your lines or even to go a little darker with using some permanent ink on there, like a micron pen. I'll do a little bit around her eye is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in there and do that right now. I'm going to take a number 1. And I'm going to come in. The micron pens have archival permanent ink in there. Now when I do her eye, I'm going to color it in, but I'm going to try to leave a catch light. Just a tiny bit of white there. That'll bring your little items to life if you leave a little bit of light in the eye. Now if you lose it, you can always dab it in with like a uni ball pen or even a little bit of acrylic paint just to add that little bit of white back in. Will make a big difference. Now I'm going to do those little kind of eyelashes that I talked about. And then over here, is this the ear? Is this where a chicken's ear might be? Right here, where they have those little tiny tufts of feathers? You can tell I don't know my chicken facts. I don't know my chicken facts. All right, tonight I'm just going to be using my little simple set again. And but there's 30 colors in there. And if you're new to watercolor, whatever set you are going to use, because when you get your set, especially if you're using dry ones, they look completely different in here than what they're going to look like on paper. So I highly recommend making a color chart so you can tell what your colors are and going to see what they're going to look like on paper. Because in watercolor, the paper shines through and it's very much a part of your painting. So you're going to want to do that. Oops, I'm going to put this over here so I can see where my colors are. If you're right-handed, keep all your stuff on your right-hand side. If you're left-hand, move it over there so you can won't be spilling water and pigment and stuff where you don't want it to be. Normally, a lot of times with watercolor, you have 2 different bowls of water, one clean and one dirty. But with these little small drawings, sometimes you don't need that much. You can just use one. I usually always have a paper towel in my hand so I could go ahead and check my color, check my water, all that, so I can control the water a little bit more. And tonight I am going to be using a watercolor brush, the Velvet Touch Princeton brush rounds. I use these a lot. They're a great little brush. They've got a lot of spring in it. They're going to keep their points really, really for a long time. And they're going to spring back to their shape real easily. And they've got this belly on here for a watercolor brush that's going to hold a little bit more moisture. So I like using these brushes for the style of painting I do. So I have this little basin here. It's ceramic. It's nice. The reason why I like this one, I'll use the tin of my top here. But the reason why I like this one better is because it's white and it's similar to my paper. So I'm going to be able to tell a little bit easier what kind of colors I've got mixing in here versus in my tin. But I'll use both. All right, let's choose a chicken color. My chicken color that I chose was in this color family here, the first layer. With watercolor, you're always building the layers. So you're going to start light and then work your way dark. It's just the opposite of what usually normally color acrylic paint. Normally you start darker with acrylic paint and then work your way light. And this is just the opposite. Watercolor is like painting the shadows. Okay, I'm going to pick up my blue. I'm getting my colors wet. I forgot to prime them tonight, so they're a little bit dry. Going in there. And I'm going to be mixing this color to tea consistency. I've said that in the past where tea and milk is very common consistency, what people talk about. I'm going to be doing tea. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to lay my first layer. It's okay to leave a little bit of the white of your paper showing because that will be your brightest white in your painting. So it's okay to leave a little bit of it, and it's actually preferred. If you can, when you're doing your strokes, is to leave a little bit of white. You can always add that next layer and fill it in. Okay, here we go. This is a pretty color. It's a mix of something, and some people really enjoy mixing colors. I enjoy it to a certain extent, but a lot of times if I can find it in the box and I like it, I prefer to use it. Some of it is because I don't have to remix it. I can just always have it right there. And of course, you don't always have to remix it the same anyway. I'm going to do her tail, but I just like this color. And then I'll be layering another color on top of it. So tonight we're going to be working on, or I'll be showing you anyway, how it's called glazing when you let a paint, one of those areas dry a little bit, and then you come back in with another layer. It's called glazing. So I'm going to let this area dry, and then I'm going to come in and give another layer and glaze it. So let's work a little bit on, since I have to, this is wet, I need to let the saddle part dry, unless I'm doing a color that it's okay that, like if I was doing green, I could go ahead and paint next to there, because watercolor wants to flow wherever the water is or the paper is wet, really wet. So it would, whatever color I put in here, which I'm going to put orange, would want to float right into my blue. So I don't want that. So I'm going to give that a chance to dry. And I'm going to pop over and do a little bit of work on my flowers while that's drying. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do a wet, kind of a wet blend. So I'm going to, my paper's dry, but I'm going to come in here and tap a little bit of this reddish color on. And then I'm going to pick up a deep purple. Purple, Carrie, it's your favorite color. I'm going to go ahead and pick up some purple, and I'm going to tap a little bit of that color in. There, blend together, create its own little magic. And if you want to, you can tip your paper as well to see if you get your colors to flow, if you want to try something a little different. Okay, I'm going to set and let it do its little magic right there. Now for my little daisy, I'm going to pick up a yellow. And I'm going to do the little flower, the petals in my flower. A little bit of orange in there while it's wet, orangish red, and let that color do its work too. So I'm going to pick up like an orangish red color, and I'm going to tap that just at the bottom of my petals and let that color blend together because it's going to want to follow that water a little bit. Cool. I'm going to use orange color, that orangish, more kind of an orange color for the very top here. And I'm okay if those colors mix because it's all in the same family and it'll make a good color anyway. So I'm just going to leave it there. All right, let's pop over and I'm going to work a little bit on these. So this time maybe I will start with my darkest purple and I'll add that to the bottom. And then maybe just put a little bit of water in it to soften it. And then I'm going to pick up a red and I'm going to pop my red into the top just by tapping with my brush. My paper's wet and my colors, they'll probably blend together. All right, so let's see what that does. I'm going to do the same thing to my pink. My next one I'm moving over, I'm going to do a pink flower. So I'm going to pop in a little bit of light pink. And this set, it has some neon colors in it. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of my neon pink, fun color, a little bit of my neon, and I'm going to pop that color in at the bottom and see if that won't scoot together with my pink. So I'm kind of having fun with these little flowers, adding the colors in, seeing what happens. Now this one, I'm going to do that reddish orange. Oh, maybe a little bit more orange. Let's see, a little bit more orange. Fun. And then I'm going to pop that really bright kind of pink color into the top here, like I did over here. and see what happens. So play with your colors a little bit and try this little bit of a technique of where your colors are going to blend. I'm hoping you're able to see that on the camera. Fun. I'm going to work a little bit on my leaves too, since I'm at this point, still giving my chicken some time to dry. And I'm going to do this kind of the same thing with my leaves. So I'm going to do a bright green, and then I'm just going to pick a darker green, and I'm going to pop my color in there and let it blend and see what happens. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, so again, I'm going to do light, and then just pick up a darker green and pop it in there and see how you're. Okay, let's see, blue green maybe this time. We'll see what happens. That one's a little bit darker. Let's pick up a blue blue. Okay, fine. Oh, I forgot one leaf there. I better do that one. And then a little bit darker one. All right. Now this chicken is pretty dry, so I'm going to go ahead and take another layer of my blue that I was working on. Take the same color. This time I'm going to mix it to about milk. So it's going to be a little bit thicker. It's going to have more color. Now I'm going to come in and add my next layer. So I'm going to come in and darken that up. I'm not trying to cover up everything I put on my first layer. I'm just painting in the next layer of what might be shadow. Now I had a big white area there. If I layer in another color over top of a little bit over that white, that's just going to be a lighter color, and then these ones will be darker. Okay, fun. All right, now I'm going to come up here and add some more to my tail. Maybe choose one side to darken and leave the other side light. And I've got a little bit more work that I got to do here on my body. All right, now I'm going to let that dry again, and then is another color on the top, and that's going to be more of a darker blue is what we're going to be using there, or that's what I'm going to be using anyway. All right, let's work a little bit. Since that's still wet, I'm going to go ahead and pick up my green again, and I'm going to do a little bit of work on my stems here. So I'm just using a number 6 round. You could do this with your gel pens. I know a lot of you like using the gel pens. You could easily do this part with your gel pen to get a thinner line, but I think I can do a pretty good job with this little brush. And it's not that little actually, but it's got that nice point. That's the thing, is these little brushes keep their, that's why I can kind of come in here and do that work pretty easily with this particular brush because it's keeping its point. All right, there we go. Here. How's everybody's chickens turning out? Are you liking them? Are they looking kind of whimsical? All right, let's do this one here. And what color are you doing your chicken? Are you doing your chickens blue? Or are you doing them a different color? Okay, cute. She's looking darling. All right, now I'm thinking this one's probably going to be pretty dry. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my lightest pink, and I'm going to stroke some of this pink color in here. And even if they're not all the way dry, it's going to be fine. The pink and the blue will mix fine together. And I'm going to be using some of that bright little neon pink as well in there. Okay, and I'm going to do this while my colors are wet now. So I'm going to pick up another shade of pink. So I'm going to do not necessarily the neon, but I'm going to take a little bit darker pink, and I'm going to tap that color in there a little bit here and there because I want to add a little bit more dimension. So I'm going to choose like one side I want to add some darkness to, and I'll probably leave the other side lighter. Okay, well, it's still wet. I'm going to pick up my neon color, my brightest pink, like what I used up there, and I'm going to tap a little bit of that in there. Give her some very colorful feathers right there. Okay, I'm going to let that set. I'm going to let that set. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of orange work on her beak. So I'm just going to choose a little bit of a light orange, and I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to try to leave a little white spot on her beak too, if I can, and not have it all covered in. Now for the top of her comb, I'm going to take, I took a little bit of an orange color, how I kind of did the same way I did the flowers. That's how I did her comb. So I'm going to start with like a bright orange. I don't have a ton of water in there. And I'm going to wrap that in the bottom irregularly, like that. And then I'm going to take that brighter purplish color, and I'm going to put that at my top and see how those colors will blend together. This is going to come out differently every time you do it, but I really like how it turned out the very first time I did it, and I wanted to do it again. Okay, cool. Let's see what happens, how it blends. You don't know yet? The jury's still out. Okay, so I think it's pretty dry. All right, well, I'm going to do the orange feet here. It's the same thing. Come down and just do that. Nice and colorful. Okay, cute. Now I'm going to come down and do my little purple heels. So I'm going to use, just going to float in a little color. The purple and the green look really good together. I like the purple green combination from the flowers. That, I'll let that dry. Now I'm going to go ahead and choose a blue. So I'm going to just choose like a light blue here. And this is the color I'm going to layer on or glaze on next on my chicken. So I want a little bit darker than, a little bit heavier pigment than just tea. Okay, a little bit more there. Okay, so this is the layer. It's going to be a little and see where we go. Well, it's probably okay. Come in here. Maybe a little bit more water. Get too dark too quick, and then I don't like that look either. And this is where my darkest shadows are. So I'm adding this as kind of a shadow line for my chicken. And again, I'm not going to want it everywhere. Kind of pushing and pulling with my brush is what I'm doing. Okay, let's add some on this part here. And this is the color I'm going to be adding the little details on her little breast where she's got those little tick marks on there. I could actually even go a little darker if I wanted to. Let's see, we're going to add a little bit more here. Let's add a little bit more underneath the tummy. If you come in too quick, your colors can lift and then you don't have any of your, your other ones. So I'm pushing it here by coming in this quickly. But you could let yours dry a little bit more or dry it with a hair dryer if you need to. But I'm getting some lifting of my color underneath there. Love all the colors of this chick. Now I'm going to do that same thing, but I probably got to wait for it to dry now. Now I'm at that point where I got to let it dry. I'm thinking I'm going to get my hair dryer out if I have it plugged in. And I do. I'm going to give this a dry because my blue is wet, my pink is wet. I've got a lot of things wet. And if I come in here and do my orange, I could have done the heart, I guess. If I do that orange, it's going to bleed right into that blue of that chicken. And then she's going to look like a brown chicken if I get in there too soon. So I just need to dry this a little bit. It's going to want to curl. Flip it over and do the back to get it to be settled down again, and then flip it. Okay, so that's just helping dry it just a little bit. All right, and perhaps I can do that where I come in and do my pink of my heart in the middle. Kind of forgot about that part. I can do this pink. Now, if you get too much, like if it's too dark, you can come wash your brush out, get your color out, and then just use water and just kind of push that color around. So you can loosen it up so you're not, you know, it's not so dark where if you didn't want it that dark, and I didn't really want it that dark, I'm going to come in with a darker color while my paper's wet. Do my outside just a tiny bit of my heart to give it a little bit of a shape. There, that looks good. Okay, so I need to let that dry. I'll do that little waddle thing now. So I'm going to do that orange again. I can't pop that in there, just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to pick up some of that reddish color. Put that underneath there. I like the way that leads together. Looks good. Now I can take the same color on this purple color that I have, and I'm not even dipping it in my water so much. It's got a lot of pigment on there. And I'm right up here to the top and just kind of run a line right there, just to give it a little bit of an accent. Okay, let that dry. Hi, Kendra. Thanks for coming on. Okay, so that part is, now let's go ahead and let's dry this again. I want to do that orange yet. It's coming together. It's coming together. Now I'm going to use a darker blue. So let's see, where are we? I'm going to choose probably in this family right here for my darkest blue for her little chest speckles. And yeah, I gotta look to see where I am. I think that's the one I always use. Gotta look at my color chart. I too have to look at my color chart to make sure I'm using the right color. All right, this is about tea consistency. I don't want them to be super strong. You can apply them on your paper and then you can make the decision. Are they dark enough? You can always put in a few, let them dry, and then you can come back and darken them. If you need to darken them up a little bit, you can add another layer on top. I love her little chest speckles. I think they're super cute. Love the little chest speckles. All right, now let's do that blanket. So I'm going to start out with a little bit brighter orange first because I want it to be nice and bright underneath. So I'm going to layer in my color. I love orange and pink together. It's one of my favorite combinations. I'm sure you all know that because I've been doing a lot of it, especially with these Valentine drawings. Okay, now while it's still wet, I'm going to pick up that reddish color, that reddish orange. And I'm going to come in and lay in a little bit of that reddish orange around, and I'm picking it up kind of using more straight tint right from my brush because my paper's wet. Okay, and then it's more of that across and follow those lines that I drew with my pencil for my pattern. And because my paper is wet, those lines will soften a little bit because it's wet. And I'm just going to follow along with that. Okay, rinse my brush out. I'm going to let that dry, but you want to add a little bit more. I'm thinking I want a little bit more, that darker color. Push and pull. Sometimes I push and pull too much and then I get getting too far. Now let's add a little bit of purple splashes. So I'm going to take, I have that purple here. Add a little bit more here. Now I don't want a lot of the purple splashes right on top of my like chicken face. So I'm going to put this here and then I'm going to cover up my chicken face a little bit. Let's see what I got. Let's see what I got. Yes, I have this heart. I can cover that up with that. And this is a little bit thicker pigment that I have here. And I can tap, oops, I can tap this on. Now because it's a little thicker pigment, the dots are going to stay stronger. Okay, now I'm going to add more water to that purple. I'm going to water it down more. So now it's more fluid. And then I'm going to pick it up and then I'm going to add some splashier dots that are going to be more watered down. And those spots will be softer than what the original ones were. Okay, let's pick it up. See how many? Oh, I didn't get too bad. Got a few on her beak, but I think that's okay. Well, hi, Sue. Thanks for coming on. And there she is. Make sure you sign your name wherever you might want to. I'm going to sign mine down here. And we're going to call it good. We're going to call it good. She's fun, and I hope you try one, and I hope you do one. She's super cute. This little hen looks slightly different than the little one. I did, but I always say, you know, they're not twins, but they could be sisters, right? They could be sisters. This one's head's a little bit squishier. This one's a little bit rounder. I never draw them the same 2 times in a row, and they don't have to be the same. If I want them the same, I'll make a copy on the copy machine. but they're all little individual art pieces, and I think they're great. And I had found some frames, you know, the little gal that we drew the other day. I found some frames at thrift store when I was shopping the other day, and I think they're going to be perfect for using some of these. And she looks so cute in a frame. But anyway, I'll have to do that another day, show you what I found and how I put them in there. But I think she's great. For those who are new to my page, I do have a Ko-fi page right here, which is rather like a Patreon page. It's a great way to support my page. It's very, as being a sketchbook member, you do get a copy of this. The tracer would come in there. I've been sending 2 sizes, so like a small one, and then you get a bigger size. Then you also get a print of my original that I have done that you can use for your own personal use, that you can have that as a reference to look at. Sometimes it's just nice to have a colored reference to draw alongside or paint next to. So it's really great. She's sweet. You like her? I think she's darling too. All right, now for my regular watchers, normally I go live on Thursdays. Oops, sorry. I go live on Thursdays, but this Thursday I'm going to be traveling, and I won't be live on Thursday, but I'll be live on Friday. So on Friday, I'm going to be live just in YouTube. So that's where you can find me. And we're going to be working on this handsome guy, or handsome girl. Isn't she cute? She's nice, bright, and colorful. I'm kind of addicted to the colorful colors. So on Friday, I will be doing that for the YouTube Hop. I will be on YouTube, so you can join me there. And I believe I'm on at 1 o'clock Central Time. And of course, the replays are always there, so you can find them. So hit the thumbs up if you're watching from YouTube. I so appreciate it. If you're new to my page and you haven't subscribed yet and you might want to follow along, please do that as well. And you can click the notifications when I go live. I'd so love it to do that. And if those watching on Facebook, give me a share. I like that too. All right, ladies, thanks everyone for coming on. Have the rest of a good evening. Bye now.